All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is American foods that are banned in other countries. Guys, this should most likely be a very long list because I'm going to go ahead and tell you that most of them are banned in other countries, unless you go to like an American grocery store. Those things do exist, guys. Keep this in mind. I live half the year in Spain, and in the south of Spain, there are multiple import American grocery stores. Let's just say that. They're generally really small and you can kind of get what you miss, let's say. And it's generally toxic poison compared to what's actually, in Spain outside the stores. So what you don't want to do as a foreigner, let's say, is ever go into any of these stores. I'm just going to let you guys know right now, unless you want the toxins and preservatives and dyes that we basically use in the United States of America, because trust me, just go to your random grocery store, your regular one, okay, your Carrefour, basically, and go ahead and get something that doesn't have our poisons in it. But either way, let's go ahead and check this out immediately. Let's jump into it. Guys.
States is the gold standard of clean food. But that belief may not hold up to scrutiny. From unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals, countries have good reason to give the side eye to imported foods claiming to be USDA approved. That's right. This week we're talking about American foods that have been banned by other countries.
All right, let's go.
But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. Then leave a comment and tell us what other world food facts you would like to know more about. Now let's see how wrong the rest of the world really is.
Skittles. I can tell you this right now. My wife has never tried Skittles. She is from the south of Spain. She has never tried Skittles. She came to the United States of America, had them for the first time, and she was like 32. Okay, but let's continue.
Since the dawn of Skittles, there have been rumors about the dangers of eating them. Every one of us heard at least one classmate claim that the red ones make you sterile, and the yellow ones, they give you cancer. Turns out, it might be worse than that.
Right.
First of all, your classmate wasn't wrong. The dyes known as Yellow 5 and Yellow 6 have been linked to hives and hyperactivity in children. Sweden and Norway have banned the candies out of concern. The European Union will most likely be banning Skittles at the end of the year,
They don't have
already
them,
swapped
bro.
out some of the dye for more natural flavors. This is because of something called titanium dioxide, which can be found making the colors pop across the rainbow. Research linked titanium dioxide to damaged DNA, which can lead to cancer. While Europe may be ahead of the Skittles awareness curve, America is quickly catching up. In May of 2021, the Environmental Working Group asked the FDA to categorize titanium dioxide as toxic. And yes, before you ask, right now the FDA says it's okay to consume some of that chemical compound. You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation. California is home to an ongoing lawsuit against Mars Inc., the parent company of Skittles. The lawsuit claims Skittles are not only toxic, but are unfit for human consumption.
Oh, this is crazy. Okay, noted. I won't be eating Skittles any longer, guys. I go to Sam's Club, like a bulk store, and I would basically buy Skittles every time I went there. And I would buy like the gigantic bucket of Skittles, just like between videos. This is why I'm so fat, right? So between videos, I'd reach my hand in, I'd grab 10, 20, throw them in my mouth. Sometimes my tongue would be random colors. But yeah, noted.
So maybe for now, play it safe.
I
Just
love
go have
Skittles.
some Swedish fish instead.
Bread. I can see that.
Ever looked at a piece of crusty French baguette, be it in cartoon or in real life? But let's be honest, it was probably in the hands of Pepe Le Pew, and think, I can't make a sandwich with that. As great as we talk about the invention of sliced bread, a lot of European countries have actually banned much of what you'd find on America's wide grocer shelves. That's because we make a lot of our bread not just with grain, but with a variety snap packs worth of additives. Like azodicarbonamide,
What is that?
for example, which helps bleach flour and strengthen dough. Fun
Okay.
fact about azodicarbonamide, it's also used in a spectrum of industrial products, including yoga mats. Downward dogs. The European Union is really against the idea of its citizens eating yoga mat material and has banned their use in food products.
Okay. Okay, so Skittles, bread. Okay. I'm not really
Pork,
like a pork
the other white
eater.
meat, is a staple of American meats, along with chicken, fish, and beef. From bacon to ham, hot dogs to pork chops. American meat eaters consume about 67 pounds of pig per person every year.
Okay.
Soo-ee, my heart is stopping. Don't get us wrong, other nations indulge in swine just as much, if not more, than Americans. So why doesn't the U.S. export scores of succulent bacon-bearing boars? Well, it turns out America adds a lot of chemicals during processing. Ractopamine in particular is used in many pig farms to raise porkier porkers. Ractopamine, which we put a dash of in a lot of foods, has been banned in 160 countries, which all consider the drug unsafe for human consumption. This, in turn, has led to a prohibition of pork exports across the world. The EU hasn't touched the stuff since outlawing ractopamine in 2009. China and Russia have been ractopamine-less since 2013. Maybe that's because ractopamine has the same effects as an intoxicant on humans and can cause tachycardia, headaches, and muscle spasms if consumed in large enough quantities. But it is a small price to pay for a perfect piece of the pork.
Listen, guys, by the time this video is over, I'm telling you this right now, bro, this is a frustrating one. This is a frustrating one.
Hygiene in America often comes down to dousing stuff in a chlorine bath and calling it FDA approved, and chicken is no exception.
Right.
Pathogen reduction treatments, or PRTs, refer to the use of different chemicals to destroy harmful microbes on raw meat. Somewhere along the line, American food regulators decided a quick chlorine shock was the best way to kill salmonella and other bacteria on uncooked poultry.
Bro, is that bleach?
Chlorine marinade. And look, it's not that the EU is against taking a long gulp from the public pool now and then.
Okay,
in fact,
but
the risks posed by chlorine consumption are relatively low.
I'm gonna tell you this right now, guys. You know, going to Spain, for example, I'm gonna keep talking about this because it's important in this context for some who just do not know. I never in my life saw like a yellow chicken. Okay, but it's but the chicken is supposed to be yellow. I think, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I think they're supposed to be like a yellowish color when you like pluck them and things like that, right? I think the skin is supposed to be yellow. All right. And I've never seen yellow chicken in the grocery store, guys. I've never seen it. Ever.
The bigger concern is that the chlorine baths are just an eye-burning Band-Aid on a larger problem. The tip of the beak, so to speak. They're worried that the PRTs are insufficient to deal with more than just the normal bacteria and don't get at a potential contamination from things like low-quality feed to unsanitary coops on farms. The EU called the chlorine rinse an easy fix, arguing no chemical rinse will ever remove all bacteria from meat heavily contaminated as a result of poor hygiene. That hurts extra to hear it from the French.
Wow, shots fired. I don't drink Mountain Dew, and a lot of that comes from like the early 2000s, no, late 90s, when people were like, if you want to have babies, you should never consume this, right?
Mountain Dew is the closest any soft drink has come to being fully weaponized. But did you know in Austria and Norway, the soda is outright banned?
Okay.
That's because Mountain Dew's signature Chernobyl radiant hue comes from tartrazine, also known as yellow 5. And if your ADHD hasn't kicked in yet, you'll remember that color and number from the Skittles section earlier. It's been linked to headaches, hyperactivity, and the desire to be annoying to other people. Ironically, the qualities that make Mountain Dew a soda non gratis in other countries is exactly what the brand promotes, a frenetic, over-caffeinated lifestyle. Do the do. Baja Blast. Woo-hoo. And while you might be able to find Mountain Dew in Europe, it's going to hit a little different. That's because Europe spent exactly 2 years in the 90s riding the dew before discontinuing it. What is being sold as Mountain Dew in the EU has a recipe closer to the original carbonated beverage, as created by Tennessee beverage bottlers Barney and Ollie Hartman in the 1940s. The original Mountain Dew was meant as a whiskey mixer, with the name coming from the affectionate Scottish term for moonshine.
I'll definitely tell you, basically every single soda that I would consume in the United States of America. I don't really consume soda at all any longer. But any soda, Everything is different. Like, I will not drink soda in this country. I will not. Only when we're in Europe is when I'll drink soda for some reason, and it's definitely not whatever you think it's going to be. Fanta Orange is probably the most glaring of the differences.
It'll tickle your innards, is what the old ads used to read.
The color
No
is
lies detected here.
different, taste different.
Little Debbie has been providing Americans with comfort snack food since the 1960s. With their variety of zebra cakes, star crunches, nutty bars, fudge rounds, and cosmic brownies. But their big claim to fame, as anyone who has ever had their lunch packed by a parent can attest, is the Little Debbie Swiss Rolls, a mixture of rich chocolate cake and butter-creamy filling. Over 900 million cartons of Little Debbie products are shipped each year, but none of those cartons go anywhere near Austria or Norway. Blame those rascally additives, yellow 5 and red 40. Swiss rolls contain 32 milligrams of dye per product, and in those quantities, they've been shown to have an adverse effect on children. And we're not just talking about causing hyperactivity, although one study found that cutting all artificial food coloring from diets may be 1/2 as effective as prescribing kids Ritalin. And while we can't prove there's a direct connection between artificial food coloring and cancer, they do cause damage to white blood cells, causing them to mutate after only 3 hours. Exposure to these dyes could cause tumor cells to multiply way more rapidly. For that reason,
Yeah, a lot of people, whenever they do get any type of like severe cancer, they realize that things start to change pretty drastically. In America, at least, they say, "Oh, cut out sugar," things like that. Then you may be able to kind of help your body a little bit. But a lot of it really is these dyes.
researchers say a high chronic intake of food colorings throughout the entire life is not advisable. If only they weren't so delicious. Surprisingly, you can buy Little Debbie's Swiss rolls in the EU, but they come with warning labels advising parents of the potential dangers to kids. You know, like cigarettes. When you hear the words banned breakfast cereal,
I don't eat breakfast cereal at all. I haven't had any of it in like maybe since like 2015.
you're probably
I'd say.
imagining one of the countless kid-focused brands of sugary morsels, like the oh-so-delicious Cookie Crisp. So you might be surprised to learn that it's actually Special K, the most boring cereal on all of the earth, that has been banned in
is.
Denmark and discouraged in the EU. How does the healthiest box of flakes on the shelf get banned, while stuff like Reese's Puffs and Cinnamon Toast Crunch continue to enjoy free passage? Ironically, because of its supposed health benefits. In the UK, Special K has been put on blast by the Advertising Standards Authority for exaggerating how much folic acid they pack into portions. Though it's still legal to buy in Europe, Denmark has completely banned Special K since 2004 for all its fortified vitamins and minerals. Regulators argue that Kellogg's cereal's unnaturally high levels of everything from vitamin A to zinc actually qualify Special K as a genetically modified organism, or GMO. More specifically, Special K is swole with the same artificial compounds that studies have shown to potentially pose health risks, specifically to children and pregnant women. In conclusion, you may want to stick with crunch berries.
Okay. Nope. Okay.
You
Steak?
don't need to take a transcontinental flight to visit countries that have banned American foods. Just drive up to the Canadian border, flash your passport, and sign an affidavit saying you're not smuggling any steak tartare in your trunk. Today, consuming raw meat has fallen out of fashion in the US, much like other foods like veal and pate, which
Ew.
don't make you sick but might make you sad. But while baby cow and overstuffed goose liver is illegal in parts of America now, tartare is not. See, while veal and pate may be uncool, they are also served hot. Unlike tartare, which is chopped up cold meat, straight from the cow. Undercooked
Bro, what country did that come from? Ban that country in its entire existence. Who eats that?
or raw foods can lead to an increase in food poisoning and parasitic infections, especially in beef and poultry. But considering how fancy pants steak tartare is, Titanic food one might say, you'd think countries might look the other way and let the luxury delicacy slide. And for a long time they did. In Canada, meat has to reach an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit, the equivalent of a medium rare steak, in order to be considered safe to serve. But those rules aren't strictly enforced. That is, until recently. In 2021, restaurant owners in New Brunswick selling steak tartare were all served cease and desist letters. Canadian public health officials had decided that amid the ongoing health crisis of COVID-19, the last thing their citizens needed was a side order of botulism.
I mean, that's definitely, I wouldn't say that's the last thing the citizens need. Trudeau should probably be right ahead of that, the last thing the citizens need, but let's continue.
Is there anything more American than Coca-Cola? The fizz, the flavor, the former secret ingredient, cocaine. Coke is basically apple pie in beverage form. And it's not just Americans who are cuckoo for Coke. Invented by a pharmacist in 1886 Georgia, Coca-Cola quickly caught on overseas. It was the World War II GI's drink of choice. Pre-pandemic, Coca-Cola had 500 brands in over 200 countries, making it the best-selling soft drink and one of the most recognizable brands of all time. But there will always be exceptions, and unlike the other entries on the list, for once it has nothing to do with health concerns. Everybody knows that Coke is not good for you. We just decided collectively that we don't care. No, the countries that have outlawed the brand have done so because of what it represents, a symbol of the encroachment of American capitalism. From 1962 to 2011, the U.S. banned sales of Coke to Burma as part of sanctions against the military junta that ruled the country until 2011. It resumed sales in the country in 2012. Today, Coca-Cola is only unavailable in 2 countries with long-term trade embargoes with the U.S. North Korea hasn't allowed Coke since 1950, and the bubbly beverage has been banned in Cuba since Fidel Castro seized supplies in 1962. First the prequels, now Coke. Is there anything that can't be ruined by the federalization of trade taxation? In a twist of irony and lime, Cuba was actually one of the first bottlers of the beverage outside of America. Today, Cuba Cola has replaced Coke as the country's soft drink of choice, though black market sales abound. After all, it is the birthplace of the Cuba Libre, aka the rum and Coke.
M&M's going to be banned for basically the same thing Skittles are, no doubt.
M&M's, the delicious melt-in-your-mouth, not-in-your-hand snacks, were originally a collaboration between the Scion sons of the Mars and Hershey dynasties in 1941. Like Coca-Cola, M&M's gained international fans during World War II, as American soldiers popularized the candy overseas as the chocolate that won't get your trigger finger all sticky. But you won't find the candy in Sweden, where it's banned due to a trademark conflict with a popular national candy that also features lowercase m's as its signature.
Okay.
When Mars introduced the candy to Sweden in 2009, a court ruled its marketing too similar to that of the Norwegian Marabous, which resemble Kit Kats. During World War I, Marabou had moved its manufacturing to its Swedish neighbors, where it received a royal warrant of appointment by the King of Sweden. And here we thought the Swiss were the chocolate snobs. Should you want to check out what the fuss is all about, Marabou's is sold in IKEA stores here in the U.S. Well, at least it's good to know that M&M's don't contain any harmful dyes or chlorine residue, right? That's a pretty important victory for hard-shelled chocolate. So what do you think? Which of these banned foods sounds the most delicious? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, bro, none of them. I'm going to be completely honest here. Listen, I eat a couple of these things. I think we all pretty much probably do. But you see, this is what gives people eating complexes. Because now it's like, bro, I'm here in the United States of America for like maybe 2 or 3 more months now. All right. And I'm just like, look, you just told me I can't eat a single thing in the United States of America. So what do I do here? What do I do here? I can't not eat a single thing until I leave the country and then I can eat basically freely again. All right. What am I supposed to do with this information? I don't know. But either way, listen, guys, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. This is my lightsaber. Hey, guys. You guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, it's amazing.